I tell you what, take a listen to this.
Rocky Mall, Manny Pacquiao, boxing maestro from the Philippines. You want fame and you want honor beyond your wildest dreams. No one can box like the Pac-Man.
No one can box like the Pac-Man. This is an Israeli singer with his own personal tribute to the Pac-Man. They do it in Mexico, but anyway, that's kind of nice. I kind of think it's a bit of a mad track, really. I'm a big fan of it. Now, this Saturday at the MGM in Las Vegas, Manny Pacquiao will defend his WBA welterweight title against Sugar Shane Mosley. Pac-Man, as he is affectionately known, has won world titles at 7 weights. The first as a 19-year-old flyweight a long, long time ago. Last year, Pac-Man was the joint highest earning athlete in the world, according to ESPN poll. He made $32 million, shared it with a baseball player, if I'm not mistaken. He is a congressman in the Philippines, a hero in his homeland, and the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. Some boxing experts are starting to move him into their top 10s of all time. He's big. Last year, a quite brilliant biography came out. It's called Pac-Man, and its author, Gary Poole, joins me from his room at the MGM in Las Vegas now. Good afternoon to you, Gary. Good evening to us here. Gary Poole.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Yeah, fantastic.
I love that song. I had never heard that song.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Gary. I'll send it over to you because it's about 15 minutes long, so I couldn't play all of it. So I wanted to talk to you, but I'll make sure I send you. I'll email it to you overnight. Gary, first of all, you're in town for the big fight, and it's still a big fight, even though Mosley's 39 and Manny's a massive betting favourite. What's the atmosphere like? Is it building? Does it feel like a big fight at the MGM in Vegas?
You know, it's kind of interesting because Mosley, you know, is an 8-1 underdog, but there's still enormous interest. I just left the undercard press conference. I've never seen a press conference with so many boxing writers. I mean, it's pretty. I think Pacquiao has sort of transcended into celebrity. So whomever he's fighting, it becomes a big fight. And I think the move to Showtime has also sort of energized this fight because they've been showing, you know, documentaries on Pacquiao on CBS, which can go to so many millions of more homes. So I think there's more exposure to these guys. So it's actually a big fight, you know, big fight atmosphere here.
Now, Freddie Roach's trainer said last year, just in the build-up to the Margarito fight, he said, I think we're going to lose him to politics. Now, you've been out in the Philippines. I mean, your book's absolutely brilliant, fantastic and insightful. Do you get that feeling that we could lose him to politics, that it might be all over, even at 32 years of age, after a great career, but still plenty more to come?
You know, I really did think that about 6 months ago, because Freddie was saying that, and there were just so many distractions in the camp leading up to the Margarito fight. I mean, he met with the president of the Philippines. He campaigned for a senator here in Nevada. There were just distractions all over the place. But this fight, he's been really focused, and I just talked to Freddie about just a few minutes ago about how long he thinks Pacquiao's going to fight, and he says 2 or 3 years. He feels like he has a lot of the chaos sort of under control, and he really thinks he's going to fight for you know, that would be 4 or 5 more fights.
Now, the odds against Sugar Shane Mosley was a brilliant lightweight, one of the greatest lightweights of the last 50 years. The odds against him winning are prohibitive. They're ridiculous. But do you see anything in Mosley that makes you think that perhaps there could be what would be an enormous upset on Saturday night at the MGM, Gary?
Well, you know, I went up and visited Sugar Shane in his camp, and he's a determined fighter. And if you look at his last 2 fights, you could actually kind of throw those out.
Yeah, throw those out, then it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were both 2 defensive fighters. I mean, he was able to rock Mayweather in the second round when they fought.
And as Manny said, if that had been me, Mayweather would have been finished.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. So I mean, there's I think 8-1 is crazy.
So do I.
Sugar Shane is a Hall of Famer. He's 39, but he's kept in good shape. And you can't just. I mean, you have to look. He's slowing down. He was tired at the end of his last two fights, which I saw ringside, and he was breathing through his mouth, and he was tired, but he was also chasing those guys around, and he likes fighters that come at him. And as an older fighter, it's easier for him to box somebody that's coming at him.
And Manny will oblige. And finally, let me just ask you this. I'm sure it's the question everyone's asking out there. Mayweather's got a court appearance in July. It's the fight that everyone's talking about. They're guaranteeing themselves $50 million. Gary, just in 5 or 10 seconds, is that fight any closer? You're close to the Pacquiao camp. Is the fight Mayweather and Pacquiao any closer?
No, I don't think so at all. They went through 3 negotiations. They recently Nelson Mandela's daughter tried to get a fight in South Africa.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Mayweather apparently wanted $100 million. So I just don't think the Mayweather camp is interested.
Okay, listen, Gary Poole, thanks very much indeed. Gary, I'll send that bit of music over to you. And if you've not got Gary Poole's book about Pac-Man, just go onto Amazon. You'll find it. It's absolutely fantastic. Now,